Yes, guys, welcome back to more GBFC. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. We're going to talk today not necessarily about Nottingham Forest as much. I made a video about Nuno Espirito Santo and what an amazing job he's doing at Forest. I'll leave a link to it in the description or click the card on the screen. But for Man United, it is a sorry time right now. They are seriously struggling. And again, it is a former Manchester United academy player who has run 85 metres in 9 seconds and put the ball in the back of the net despite not a single serious attempt of a challenge from a Man United player 5 minutes into a game, away at the third best team right now in the Premier League. No one makes a tackle. They've been off for 2.5 weeks, and the amount of effort that you saw from those Man United players to even remotely try and defend Anthony Elanga was abysmal. I'm sorry, but I like to speak positively about teams on this channel that aren't Chelsea because I'm enjoying watching more football. I'm enjoying talking about more football. But when it comes to Manchester United, I really struggle to have anything good to say. And I must admit, as much as obviously, I'm not that bothered about it. I don't really care where Man United are as long as Chelsea are above them in the Premier League. I'll say this, right? As a football fan, at the bare minimum, what you want to see from your team, from your club, is effort out there on the field. And I think when it comes to Manchester United, I wouldn't say the performance away at Nottingham Forest. If we bring up the starting 11 here, you can see the average ratings. Man United 7.07, Forest 7.09. But these average ratings are pretty good. Garnacho getting a 7.4 is an absolute criminal offence. It makes me question where they actually create these ratings from. His finishing was absolutely atrocious. Bruno gets an 8 rating, but realistically, he's on the ball a lot. 110 touches of the ball, 79% pass accuracy. Makes the majority of his long balls, crosses. There isn't really anybody in the box. I thought Rasmus Højlund, when he came on, actually looked quite good for Man United, but Joshua Zirkzee, this guy is seriously struggling. There were moments and flashes before the international break, but realistically, there is fundamental core issues at Manchester United that I want to discuss today. And look, I'm not a United fan. You know, it's more. This is a look from the outside, and when I watch Manchester United and when I think about what I've watched of Manchester United over the years, this is a shell of that. This is a shadow of that Manchester United team. And when you compare that here to Nottingham Forest, who even changed their formation last night to a 4-2-3-1, and look, we've got to say credit to Nottingham Forest and Nuno again, because the game against Brighton that they won in the FA Cup quarter-final not only gets them to Wembley, but it's an emotional game. The fact that it goes to extra time and then the end of extra time and it's all the way to penalties, not only is that physically draining with the fact that a lot of these Forest players played 120 minutes, but it's emotionally draining as well. So the fact that these Man United players, a lot of them have been on international break, yes, but a lot of them also have just been on a little break, really. And the fact that they put in that performance last night, they did have the majority of the ball. You can see they had the majority of the tacks. The momentum chart here, it looks like a steal from Nottingham Forest. But the truth of the matter is, Murillo, Milinkovic, the whole back line, Williams, Aina, they weren't really challenged. Matt Sells made 5 saves in the game, preventing 0.41 goals. But we're talking here about the best goalkeeper in the league this season, in my opinion. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Might not be the biggest name, but he's absolutely delivered. Whereas Onana, on the other hand, not much to do, but when he did have something to do, he didn't save it. That's the difference between a team that are third place, challenging for a Champions League spot, and Manchester United right now. It's a disaster. If we take a look, they're 13th in the league table. They could go below Spurs because Tottenham have got a plus 12 goal difference. And they could also go below Everton if Everton somehow go to Anfield and get a result in the Merseyside derby. But this is unprecedented. Man United, 13 defeats from 30 games. Erik ten Hag started the season, won them the FA Cup, and then we've seen the interview. If you haven't seen the interview with Jim Ratcliffe, you can see that Man United knew they made a mistake. As soon as the season started, it was like, shit, it would have been great if we'd have got in Amorim now. to start the season, but he was happy to stay at Sporting Lisbon. And then Man United came knocking on the door, and I genuinely feel sorry for Ruben Amorim because he's come in the middle of the season where the damage hasn't been done by Ruben Amorim. So to answer the question of, is Ruben Amorim the right man for Manchester United, I would actually say still, despite not really improving the league position, 2 wins in their last 5, 2 draws in there, and then a pretty feeble defeat to a very tired Nottingham Forest team last night. The issue at Manchester United is not the manager. The issue is years and years and years of dreadful recruitment. And look, Mason Mount came on yesterday for Man United, but look at the bench. When you look at this team here, you've obviously got 3 players here playing in defence. Dalot, who is a wing-back, yes, he can get forward. He actually had a good game. Dorgu, who's a new signing, who I think is an Amorim signing. Let's take a look at his numbers from last night. 82 touches of the ball. If you look at the average positions here, he's kind of all by himself over on that left-hand side. Super central for this Man United attack. And when you look at this team, like, is there really anybody in there that you think is going to be a box crasher, a box presence? The answer is fundamentally no. And I think a big problem at Manchester United in terms of that playing personnel, we can say that it's the bigger picture, it's the club, it's the way they've been ran, it's how they've spent that money. But I think this guy here is a huge problem. Alejandro Garnacho is not the level of Manchester United attacker that Man United fans are used to. But I think, most importantly, Garnacho seems to think he is significantly better than he is. I think he already believes he's Cristiano Ronaldo, yet he's done absolutely nothing in a Manchester United shirt, really, to suggest that he is. You can score an overhead kick, get goal of the season, but it don't make you a world beater, mate. And if you look at the numbers, 92% accurate passing, how can you get no accurate crosses? Is that a reflection on that man here, Joshua Zirkzee, or is this the quality that Alejandro Garnacho is going for? Wins 4 out of 13 duels, gives the ball away 19 times. Like, if I'm a Manchester United fan and I'm watching Alejandro Garnacho, I am so frustrated with him. And if you look at what Marcus Rashford has gone on and done since he left Manchester United to go to Aston Villa, Marcus Rashford overnight didn't just become a bad footballer. But the setup at Manchester United, look, it's not my place to say it, I guess, because I'm not a Man United fan. But from the outside, it just looks toxic. Everywhere you look in this Manchester United team, performances, is anyone really fighting other than, you know, Bruno? And if you look at these average ratings, these aren't bad performances. Credit to Matthias de Ligt, who looked like he had a bad injury but fought on throughout the whole game. It wasn't a dreadful Manchester United performance, but there's no quality. And when you look on the bench, Rasmus Højlund has just not been it since he was signed for big money. Mason Mount's been very unlucky with injury, but like he's not it either. Eriksen is significantly past his prime. And obviously they are so reliant on Diallo. And if we take a look at the Manchester United stats for the majority of this season, these are the high performers. It is Bruno or Ahmad. And if it isn't either of those, it's basically no one. Garnacho with 28 games played this season and only 5 goal contributions. How Man United can say that he's worth 50 million? Yes, he's 20. Yes, he's got more goals than Ronaldo did at this time in the Premier League. But like, come on. Can we just stop using such pointless comparison metrics when Garnacho couldn't even lace Cristiano Ronaldo's boots, man? That is the reality here. Marcus Rashford, like, look at these numbers. Zirkzee and Højlund, 7 goal contributions. That's not even goals. That is goal contributions between Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. This is a tragedy. Man United are a sinking ship. And the question is, right, do I think it's going to get any better? If you're a Man United fan and you're listening to the way that Jim Ratcliffe speaks about how the club are going to have to do business, they're still paying for Jadon Sancho. For goodness sake, they're still paying for players that they've bought before this new ownership came in that clearly aren't good enough, and that is going to potentially inhibit them from being able to make the correct signings for Ruben Amorim moving forward. So if we take a look again at this Manchester United starting 11, like, you need to improve in virtually every area of the field. I think Ugarte is a good player, and I think he will come good eventually. Casemiro, he keeps on having these like mini resurgences within the season, but like realistically he's past it. I've personally never rated Bruno Fernandes that much, but he does deliver the numbers. But when Man United are struggling and he doesn't show up, there's absolutely nobody else in this team who can make the difference. And I get bringing on Harry Maguire towards the end of the game because you've not been able to convert anything in the box all match. You're 1-0 down. And Harry Maguire can get on the end of things, and he is an attacking threat. But when you see the ball bounce off his flipping skull, when Patrick Dorgu puts it in late on, and it goes wide, it summarises everything about this Man United team. Reactionary at best, and even then, the reaction isn't of any kind of quality standard whatsoever. And I don't need to be a Man United fan to say this. Whether I can't say it's embarrassing because like I'm not embarrassed by it personally, so I can't say that. But when you look at these Forest players, right? Murillo, what a player this guy is, by the way. He's absolutely unbelievable. Milinkovic as well, leader at the back. Nemanja Vidic-esque. How Man United would be absolutely love someone even remotely close to this right now. Look at these duels. 2 out of 2 ground duels. 5 out of 5 aerials. Milinkovic, superb. Sells, 5 saves, superb. And look, it's doom and gloom for Manchester United. It is the Europa League or bust for them. If they win it, they're in the Champions League, and then you can kind of like just wave goodbye to this Premier League season. But even if Man United get into the Champions League next season, what is Amorim going to have at his disposal? Manchester United, in my opinion, when I look at this starting 11 again, when I look at this squad, yes, there's a few players out injured here. You got Luke Shaw appearing at parties on TikToks. Kobe Mainu, good player, but like, is he that good? Martinez, good defender, but is he that good? Diallo is a great player, I think. And obviously Johnny Evans is an experienced player who's been brought back to the club, who's actually done quite well since he's been there. But there is not enough quality here. Manchester United have got a big summer ahead, but what are they realistically going to be able to do? I think, in my opinion, it's very much a case of Amorim is a good manager, but in order to play this 3-4-2-1 system, you need better players for that system, which he doesn't have right now. And he's not really willing to budget. So if he gets knocked out of the Europa League in like feeble fashion, I think United fans are going to be all over him, and they should be, because you need to adapt to what you've got. And I don't think this Man United team suits playing in this style. But Nottingham Forest, none of the ball. Again, clinical with the chance they've got. Anthony Elanga, how Man United could have done with him or could do with him. And they got rid of him. Incredible, incredible scenes. Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester United 0. Big problems for Manchester United. International break and then just flat again. Nothing going forward. Let me know your thoughts if you're a United fan in the comments down below. And if you're a Forest fan, you've got to be absolutely loving this. Winning the FA Cup quarter-final on penalties, and then you put in a shift and defensive, like, it's just so good. Absolutely magnificent. Thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe to more GBFC if you are new. If you want to see my reaction to the Arsenal game, that was uploaded a few hours ago on the channel, so link to that in the description, card on the screen as well. I'll see you guys later.